it's like a cult classic.
Never heard of it. Fantastic.
Have you ever heard of Metal Gear?
Yeah, see, that's another one. Metal Gear Solid. I never played any of those games. Was that a PlayStation 1 game?
I think actually
didn't it?
Yeah, say the original
way
Metal
back.
Gear. Metal Gear started as a Nintendo game on like the NES or the Game Boys, a really, really old thing. Metal Gear Solid, which is when everybody starts knowing what like Solid Snake and all of the stuff like that. That started to be on PlayStation 1, I believe. I think that's what you're more familiar with.
Yes.
And the whole lore
wow,
of
right.
Solid Snake and Liquid Snake, I actually got familiar with thanks to Chris Chan and Solid Chris and Liquid Chris. Actually, not the Metal Gear series.
I do see the Metal Gear. I do remember that for NES.
Kojima, he was the big, like he was had a big creative mind in there, and then Konami eventually kicked him to the curb.
Speaking of Hideo Kojima, I believe for our next episode coming up on the 20th, we're going to have Dabblestorian on. And he wants to play a game, I believe it's called Zone of Enders. And according to him, that game was written, and I don't know about directed, but it's pretty much the same thing if you write a game anyway. Um, it's a Hideo Kojima game. And it looks like we've lost Tookie, but that's okay. In just a couple of moments, we'll have him back on and we'll wrap up the show. Tookie did mention before the show started that he has some things going on. He's got to go hang out with his mom and his family.
Oh, I see it.
It is the
guys
holiday
hear me if I
season,
talk?
which
Can
is
you
why
hear me?
this episode was a little bit different. So as soon as Tookie comes back on, we'll just add him right back in.
He does have a family, unlike us single folk. And since Tookie is broadcasting this to his channel as well, we actually have a few super chats. Annie and I aren't monitored. If you look over there at the start, we've got a few super chats we can bring up.
Oh, absolutely. And as usual, on Tookie's channel, he has a bunch of great members, and we have a Fuck Stuttering John and FGH. Who's GH?
I think that's Greg Opie Hughes.
Oh, okay. Hughes. Yeah. It's so hard to keep up with people nowadays.
Thank you, Vincenzo, for being a member for 2 months. I'm sorry. I did not expect super chats. I did not try. I was just trying to broadcast on my channel to bring more people. I didn't think about super chats.
So turn me up.
But that's okay. This episode is definitely brought to us by David Chandler. He sent us 2 back-to-back $49.99 super stickers. So thank you very much, David Chandler, for supporting Tookie. None of that money's going to us because it's on Tookie's channel, and I'm not asking for money. We're not getting involved in that. So thank you so much for supporting Tookie. And then we have one more from David Chandler to a total of $99.99 saying for the war chest.
For the war chest, I will send you guys some money because without your show, I would not have gotten the super chats. So I will send you guys some of this super chat money.
We can figure all that out later. Don't worry about it. Yeah. We have Kirkland Red 100s here. Please talk about Battletoads.
No,
even that's creeping up on my show. No, get that out of here.
Get him off.
I will talk about difficult
Battletoads.
Talking about difficult games.
And Double Dragon, that was fun. That wasn't really overly hard.
Well, I guess I am. I'm just
Genesis.
trying to see if I can figure out how to
knocked down
this.
the difficulty on Battletoads and Double Dragon for the Genesis, and I think it might have been for the SNES too.
Hello, testing 1 2 3 4. So now, how do I adjust their volume?
That was legit fun without.
Aha.
Like immediately, I think it was the level in the original Battletoads.
Let me see if I can
like,
find. Now
level,
I can't see the chat
3,
anymore.
where you're on that scooter and it goes a million miles an hour. That one
Hello,
was
Brian.
That's being exactly so early in Battletoads.
Battletoads was a great game, yes, until you got to that hover.
Yeah, I'm just playing with my new OBS
you always hit the wall
setup over here.
Some shit. Yes, it's very hard. You had to know when to jump, when to go down, when to go up.
Oh, I know when to go down, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, does that look like John's mess back there with the boxes and stuff? There's Christmas presents everywhere. I do have a green screen. It's going up. back in the back there, you can see my ham radio junk and all my nerd things. There's a new keyboard that I haven't set up. Anyway, how's the audio sound? I can't hear myself, which is maddening. I'm going to have to get a different mixing board. I've got a little crummy Xenix 4-channel mixing board. It's got USB out, but apparently it doesn't have USB return. Well, no, it has to, because I'm hearing, I don't know. Anyway, I can't hear myself, so I can't hear the mix. And the lighting is terrible. I was the lighting person at WRAL TV, an audio engineer, and I would be very upset with myself if I saw this. If myself from 1976 saw this lighting, I would be very mad. Let me see. Anyway, that's just a test thing. See if that's better. All right. Let's see. Let's go back to Tookie and Annie and Dylan. See what they're up to.
Just a pain in the fucking ass, referencing something that happened today, or just to get something off his chest. Something where it's not really a show. We're not doing a show. We're just doing 5 minutes.
I'm not doing a show.
So there is exclusive Patreon content on there. So if you guys want to check that out. And the only reason we made a Patreon is because we got 2 channel strikes. And I was informed it might be best practice to start a Patreon just in case I ever lose my channel. So we are over there.
Yeah, we can't let Tookie lose his channel.
/VDabbler Network. Sure. And thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Well, thank you so much, Tookie, for coming on.
Memory lane.
As I teased, next episode on the 20th, we'll have the Dabble Storian on here. He gets around, and I'll be excited to talk about a game that neither of us have ever heard of.
This seems to be working.
Until then, as always, we'll see you next time.
Yay. All right. We need to support Tookie. We need to support the freedom to take something off of YouTube or Facebook and play it on your YouTube channel. That's what we're really supporting. The video was much louder than you. Still seems a bit quiet. Okay. Yeah, I rock death metal too, Brian. I've seen Lamb of God multiple times. I got sick of being yelled at to get in the pit, get in the pit. I guess I outgrew it. See if that's a little bit better. I increased the compression. I'm just going to increase the levels now. I don't want to be peaking in the red. For me as an audio engineer, that drives me crazy. All right. So I got the gain up, and that should be decent there. Hello, Rochi. Well, while I'm here, why don't I do a story for you guys? This wasn't supposed to be a show. We're not doing a show. I'm just turning everything on and showing everyone my background that's as bad as anything that you've ever seen on A Beer from the Balcony. But I do have a green screen that's going up, and I have new lighting, and I've got new cameras coming as well. This camera is just sort of a shite webcam. Let's see here. All right, let's look at a couple of things. Oh, yeah, that's going to work. You guys can see that. The efficacy of ketamine therapy in the treatment of depression. Severe depressive disorder, among the most debilitating conditions. Conventional pharmacology usually takes several weeks, 4 to 12 weeks. 4 is... wow, that is optimistic. It's 8 to 12 weeks with the serotonergic drugs like the SSRIs, Prozacs, Paxils, Zolofts, and the SNRIs like venlafaxine or Cymbalta, which is duloxetine. And if I'm going to read this over here, I need to move the camera over there, don't I? Yeah, okay, I'll do that later. No, I can just read it right here. Anyway, so what they wanted to look at was a sub-anesthetic dose of ketamine, because ketamine was used as an anesthetic, and people found that when they woke up, they thought they were in another world or they were separate from their body, and they didn't like it too much, but they also were not depressed. And it was, one of those things where it's an unexpected effect. I don't want to call it a side effect. There's not really side effects. There's positive effects and adverse effects. And there was a positive effect, and so then they had to do some studies to see if they could show a true outcome using depression as the outcome rather than anesthesia. So here we go. 25 drug-free naive patients of the male sex with severe depression, having no previous history of psychosis, head injury, organic disorders, etc. Assessments were made at baseline. An injection of ketamine hydrochloride was given at a sub-anesthetic dose of 0.5 milligrams per kilogram. So the average person is 70 kilograms. Therefore, you would give them 35 milligrams. And the assessments were repeated 1 hour after the first dose. 6 doses were given over 2 weeks, and then they did a final assessment. There was significant improvement in depression, anxiety, and the severity of illness after 2 weeks and 1 month of the last dose of ketamine. Now, this is not a blinded study, so it'd be hard to blind a ketamine study. You would have to give people some drug that had some effect, because either you feel something or you don't. I was in a triple blinded study when I was in medical school, and they gave us thyroid releasing hormone, an IV, and a placebo pill. They gave us placebo injection and a placebo pill, and then they gave us dexamphetamine and a placebo injection. And I knew exactly which one I got every single time. But the dexamphetamine was awesome. I understand why people abuse that stuff. I loved everyone. I felt amazing. And they could give me strings of numbers, and I could recite 10 numbers backwards. They'd give me here 3, 9, 7, 2, 1, 5, 4, 2. And I could memorize it after hearing it once and recite it backwards. So it was an incredible amount of focus. Anyway, ketamine has a robust and rapid effect on depression, which was seen immediately after the administration of ketamine and sustained at the end of 1 month. So there are lots of studies like this, and for my patients particularly, who are often terminally ill, they don't have time to wait 8 to 12 weeks for an SSRI to maybe kick in. So this stuff kicks in about 3 days and has positive effect within 3 to 7 days. It's a great drug. I'm glad it's legal finally. What I'm really looking forward to is getting back to trials of psilocybin, because yet another pathway. We got to just stop dumping buckets of serotonin in people's brains. I'm going to show, speaking of buckets of serotonin, let me see if I can find this YouTube. I want you guys to watch Serial Killer Therapy. I posted it on, let's see, Killer Therapy. They had to change the name. They said Serial Killer Therapy was triggering, so they called it Killer Therapy. Normal world. There we are. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Let's try this. See if this works.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and why you've decided to seek counseling.
Hi, I'm Jason V. Well, I drowned as a boy, but I had a weird head, and people were not happy with it, so they kind of just ignored me. And my mom went around and killed all the people at this camp because they were having sex instead of watching me swim.
It's because of the alcoholism. I was 7 years old in the institute, and he offered me a tall glass, a 3-fingered scotch, and I said nothing, because I don't usually talk.
The name's Freddy. I'm a minor attracted person. I've been killing kids since the 80s.
So let me tell you a little bit about this. They had me come in. They had already filmed all the serial killers, and they just had me read lines. And I was done in 5 minutes. They allocated an hour for it. And I was literally done in 5 minutes. And I said, why don't you just play the serial killers and we'll do B-roll? In other words, I'll just sit there and pretend like I'll listen to them and I'll react to them. And then you can cut it in. And they liked the idea and they did it. Now, one thing that cheeses me off a little bit is that whoever did the subtitles didn't proofread them. I'll point out the typos to you that kind of, for me, ruin it a little bit. But Dabblestorian, thank you for the £2. It says, will you do Dela's dishonorable discharge in January? I don't know what that is, but I'm in, I think. I don't know what that is. All right.
There was some sexual stuff involved, but we removed that because of the censors.
I know it's usually different.
There you go. It's not SENSOR. It's CEN. It's censors. They removed it because of the board censoring people, not SENSORs. So that's one.
Difficult to talk about trauma, but I imagine it's not too difficult for someone like you. Is there a particularly painful event that you recall?
So about 25 years ago, I was set on fire by a group of adults, and now I see that minor attracted people are celebrated. They get their own bump. It's kind of unfair, you know. I feel I was a trailblazer.
It's not fun to drown, because you're out there like, man, look how far I'm going, and then you realize no one's even looking at you because they're having sex in a tent, and the next thing you know, just you're swallowing water. You're looking at fish like, well, hey, fishy, I'm gonna live down here now with my body.
The rejection.
I love Dave Landau's Jason. Goofiest voice for Jason it could possibly be.
I felt for my neighbors, as well as the adults that set me ablaze. Those are inner scars that I'll never be able to deal with.
Interesting.
I had one campers. I opened up the tent. It was 4 men, just human centipeding each other. And I was like, what do I do here? And then they saw me, and I was so confused that those 4 naked men beat me quite severely. And it just has taken all the fun out of it.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well,
okay, so this was done in 3 segments. And if you look at the Normal World Halloween special, Dave Landau, just such a nice person to let me start the show and end the show. The first face you see on the Halloween special is mine, and the last face you see. And they did some really clever stuff, particularly the Stephen King bit where they talked about that scene in It when all the 11-year-olds have intercourse with each other, which was disturbing when I read it a million years ago, and it's still kind of disturbing anyway.
Times have changed. I imagine that's affected your work in a negative way.
I don't see women as freely pulling out their titties anymore. In the 80s, they always pulled out their titties. And now I'm like, where are all the titties? Where are all the titties in the tents?
People keep asking me to say their pronouns, and I don't understand how to deal with that. I just want to kill people. I've embodied my sister in a way. I feel like now I may be also my sister. I am too a transgender.
I feel like you're just saying that.
I am. I am. I'm just really scared of being canceled for
when they gave me that line, I didn't know what the context was. They just had a line that says, I feel like you're just saying that. So I think that cut in pretty perfectly there.
Hate speak. Can I kill one of you?
No.
So I was in a transgender's dream, and I don't quite know how I'm supposed to scare one of those kinds, or do we call them kinds?
Anyway, all right, go watch it on Normal World. Just go Normal World Killer Therapy. They took the Halloween special and cut up some of the bits and went from there. Whoa, look at that. You can see all the things that I watch. What an eclectic weirdo. I have recipes. Oh, and then me, Uncle Rico, and then Yuchan Lim, the winner of the Van Cliburn competition in 2022, which, by the way, he was 18 years old when he played Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3. I'm just going to play the last couple of minutes because the first time I saw this, I literally cried, which, 18 years old. And people will say that Rachmaninoff is just full of notes. It's Mozart. There's too many notes. No, listen to how beautiful this is at the end. It's absolutely gorgeous. He had very lush melodies as well. Now look at the conductor. That's Marine Alsop. She's a wonderful musician in her own right, great conductor. And watch her interact with him because she is all in on this performance. And she's going to let him tell the orchestra when to come in. Watch this. And also watch at the end because he brings her to tears. Partly because he's 18 and a really innocent kid, but it's just amazing. It's one of the best renditions of Rock 3 that anyone's ever heard. That's cool as hell. Sorry. Look at her encouraging him. Did you see that? Wait a minute. I gotta run that back. She just looks at him and is like, sure, watch. You will never see that. You'll never see a conductor wipe a tear away like that ever. And then watch the musicians. Usually, they're like, okay, whatever. They almost give this guy a standing ovation. They really can't. They got their instruments in their hand. The cellist puts her bow down and is clapping over her head. I've never seen this. Oops, uh-oh. Oop, clicked the wrong button. Hang on. There we are. Here. Kamsumida. I don't even think that they, I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't think they rehearsed that together. So they just had to trust him. But Seen the people in the French airport playing. No, King of All Dips, send me that. Anyway, all right. Well, listen, I'll just goofing around. Next time I'll have the green screen up. You can see the music studio over there, kind of. You see the, you see the Moog sign. And right over this ear is my ham radio crap in the corner. You can almost hear it. If you hear that whining sound, that's actually the sound of digital FT8 mode. That's I'm trying to get Hawaii and Alaska on 40 meters. Don't worry about that. All right. Hey, thanks, everything, Travis. Well, then listen to Weird Medicine. We're still on, just wherever podcasts are found. And I'm really going to try to do some more interesting things. This is just step one, just testing the equipment, making sure that it works, that I know how to work it. And I want you guys to see my new background. I had the AI do that. I just said I want a stained glass, sort of dark caduceus, and look what it made me. So, I've got to do a decent show with that. So anyway, going to keep working on it. Thank you all for hanging out. And Dabble Story, and I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but I'm open to anything. I'm going to be on Pat Dixon's show tonight in 1 hour. Don't know what we're talking about, and I'm trying to decide if I just hold off on taking my medication until we're done, so I'll have my faculties. Anyway, all right, my friends, take care. Got no music. I have nothing right now ready to go on this setup, but I appreciate you all, and we'll talk soon.